Okay, so what do we got here? Well, I've got a whole bunch of these boards built up with some projects, and I've just been a little slacking on making the video part. So we're just going to go through this real quick. This is just an LED hooked up to the current limiting resistor and back to ground here. On the other side, though, also hooked up in parallel with that is this whole big bank of capacitors. So what a capacitor does, it acts sort of like a battery. It charges up, and when it's not getting any current anymore, then it will discharge back the same way. So the way we have this circuit built up here, let me turn it on. LED comes on, of course, it's positive. The LED to the resistor to ground, but it's also charging up this bank of capacitors. And I say bank of capacitors because if you have them lined up in parallel like this, they act as one big one. These are 100 microfarad capacitors. So I have them lined all up in here. As far as the circuit's concerned, it acts as one 400 microfarad capacitor. And so basically it will hold the charge for a little bit. And if I pull this ground here, what's going to happen is the circuit will no longer be completed going along the bottom way, but it will along the top. So it's going to pull charge from these capacitors then to try to keep this thing lit up. So let's see what happens with that. So pull this, and you can see it fades, but not right away, slowly. And that is the capacitors discharging and giving that charge to the LED. That's what was going on there. You can see that again. Just for reference then, this is what happens if the capacitors are not involved and you cut the power. It just goes off immediately. So this gives you a bit of a buffer. So if you have any slight variations in power, it won't shut off immediately. In the meantime, I've gotten some bigger capacitors. The reason why I did 4 of them in a row like this is that's the biggest ones that I had at the time. That was a few weeks ago. Now I've got guys like this. This is a 1000 microfarad capacitor. Maybe you can see that on there. So this would be actually more than twice the capacitance of all of this. So I could take all of this out of here. Let's see if I can do it while still holding the camera here. And really, the only thing that these guys care about is that they do have a positive and negative end. So you got to be sure to get them in there the right way. We'll see if I can do it. Let's put this in here like that, maybe. He kind of wants to go in there, but not all the way. And then this guy needs to come over here. Let's put that one in there. So now, basically the idea is here is because this has more than twice the capacitance of that whole bunch of ones I had in here before. The LED, if I pull this guy again like I did before, should fade just that much more slowly. So let's try that out. So we'll plug this in here. Hopefully it works the first time, otherwise I'm going to have to redo this. And pull this guy out. And you can see, like, it's fading, but much more slowly than it did before. So that's how capacitors work. It's really good for if you have weird fluctuations in your power supply. This thing will help you out a heck of a lot. It's got some other uses too because of how it behaves, but that gives you kind of an idea of how capacitors work. So there you go.